Hello everybody, it's Anne from Anne Stampin' Up. Time for another quick card today. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Simcoe, Ontario. If you live in Canada and you don't have your own demonstrator, you can shop with me at stampsandtea.stampinup.net, or you can reach me at my email, which is stampsandtea@gmail.com. So welcome everybody. So today we're going to make a quick card, and it's really quite quick. We're going to use the Scottie dog punch, the Build a Scottie punch, and we're going to use the timeless label punch. Now any label punch will do that fits your sentiment. You don't necessarily have to have the timeless label. We're going to use the Scottie dog stamp set, Christmas Scottie, and we're going to use this lovely paper. Now what's it called? It's from the Sweetest Christmas Suite. It's page 8 and 9 of the July to December mini catalogue, and this is the paper here, and it's all lovely garden green, real red, sweet sorbet and pool party. So today, let me just show you some of this paper here. It's all nice patterns on one side and patterns on the other, but you've got some nice paper that you could use either way. You know, you could use this with this, and they all mix and match together. They're really quite nice papers there. So we're going to use, let me just pop that out of the way, we're going to use a piece of this paper. We're going to use both sides of it. Now I think this piece is confusing me. I can't make up my mind if it's polished pink or real red, but I'm saying it's real red, and that's what I'm going with. So we're going to use both sides of it, and this is the card we're going to make today. Now it's called a triple easel card, and it stands up like that. When it's lying flat, it looks like this. It's really 3 panels on the front of your card, and each panel is decorated, and then you need to put something on the inside of your card to make it stand up. Well, I just used the little bow from the Scottie dog punch there. So I'm just going to put that out of the way, leave it where I can see it in case I need to, and we're going to get started. We've got let me see, we've got a piece of Pool Party, which is your standard card base. It's 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. We've got a piece of basic white for the inside, which is 5 by 5 1/4 by 4. That's going to go on the inside of the card. I've got a scrap of red here that I'm just going to use, real red, to cut out bows for my Scotties and for the inside of the card. And I've got this beautiful designer series paper, which we're going to use both sides of. You see how well they go together? They go really nice together. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to, oh, and I also have somewhere a piece of basic black just to cut my Scotties out of. So let me put that over there, and I'll bring this in, and I'll move my catalogue to give me some room. Right, I think I'm somewhat organized here. You never know with me. So we'll do some cutting first, and what we're going to cut is this piece here. We're going to cut it at 4 inches, and then we're going to cut 1.5 inch strips, but there's a little trick to this. So 4 inches. Now one thing I will point out, I did look at this paper and decide which way I wanted my stripes on my card to sit. You see, they sit this way, so I had my paper this way in my cutter. If I'd turned it this way, the stripes would have, instead of going top to bottom here, they would have gone this way on my card. So that's just something to keep in mind, just in case, you know, if your paper is not the same as this, you use a different pattern paper, just bear in mind that you need to think about your stripes. So I've got 4 inches here. I'm going to cut a strip off of 4 inches, and I'm going to cut 3 strips. Well, I'm going to cut 6 strips at 1.5. So we've got 1, bugging me. There we go. 1.5. Let's put that back a tad. 2. 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now these 6 strips will actually make you 2 cards. Okay, we're going to separate them into 3s. So we've got 3 here and 3 here. These 3 we're going to cut with the stripes up. Okay, and we're going to cut them on the diagonal. Let me think, this way. Okay, now I'm just putting them in my paper cutter here, lining them up, moving my blade to about halfway down my piece of paper, because you can never start a cut on a point in your paper. Oops. You have to hold your paper quite firmly in there, and that's what we've got for one set. Okay, we're going to do this 3 times with the paper this way up. Okay, so I've got 3 pieces like this. Now I want these to sit on my card like this, but I want to see the red side on the bottom. Well, it doesn't matter, you can't turn that paper anyway and make it with the red side on the bottom. So we're going to take the 3 bottom pieces out and put them to one side. I've got these 3 here. We're going to take the other 3 strips that we cut and we're going to turn them over, and we're going to cut exactly the same way, wide piece at the top, going off to the right like that. That's in my cutter the same way. Move my blade sort of halfway down or a little way down, hold that firmly. Now because I've turned this over, when I turn it this way I can take this piece and it's going to go there like that. Alright, we're going to put this off to the side for the next card, and we're going to do this 3 times just like we did the first time. So there's my 3 pieces like that. Alright, so I've got 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put those over here where we can get to them. Oops. 2 and 3. And I think that's all. Oh no, what we now need to cut is this piece. We need to cut the front of the card into 3 sections, and I'm going to do that on my paper cutter too. Now my paper cutter at the top has 1/8 of an inch markings. Okay, 1/8 of an inch markings. I want to cut the first piece with a 1/16 inch marking, so if I come to the bottom edge of the cutter, the bottom edge has 16ths. Am I making sense? Yes, that's right. So I want to put the front of my card in, and it doesn't matter which piece you're calling the front. I'm calling this the front of my card, and I'm going to make the first cut at 1 13/16 of an inch. Okay, so I've got 4, 8, 12, 13/16 of an inch. Now when I say 4, 8, 12, I know you can't see very well, but I have 16 marks in between the 2 inch and the 3 inch, or the 1 inch and the 2 inch. In every inch I've got 16 marks, so I want to cut to 1 inch and 13/16, 1 13/16, and I'm going to cut from the bottom up to the score line. So I might have to put my head in the camera if you just could bear with me for a minute. So 1 13/16, there. Yep, the next cut is going to be 3 5/8. So I'm going 3, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 there, and I'm going to do the same thing again, cut right up to the score line, there. So I end up with 3 pieces of cardstock for the front of my card. Okay, now I don't know whether you've ever noticed this or not, but this blade does come out of your cutter. Let me see if I can get it out. Yeah, and if you look on the middle of your cutter, you've got a little groove in there. That groove lines up with the center of the blade, the point on the blade, and if you're looking to cut the way I just did to the score line, you can line up as you cut up, you watch this little mark here and you find your score line, and that's where you stop cutting. Alright, so I think we're good. I think we've done all the cutting we need to. So now we're going to sort of put this card together. Let me see, there's my mat. Let's do the stamping first. So we're going to stamp on the inside of the card. Oh, and I need a piece for the sentiment. I'll just stamp on there for the sentiment. This is for the inside, and I've got some real red ink, and I'm using the stamps from the Scottie dog set. I have a Merry Christmas, which is going on the inside of the card. There. And for the front of the card, we've got a piece that says, May your days be furry and bright. And we're stamping that on a scrap of card because we're going to punch it out. That's the one we're going to punch out using the label punch. So you can go there. This can get closed. We're done with it. This is the timeless label punch. Just there. So we've punched that out. Oops, get rid of that. We're going to punch out from the black card. We're going to punch out 2 Scottie dogs. Now you end up with 2 bows as well, just the way the punch, because of the way the punch is made, but you just put those bows in a box for another card. You save it with your scrappy pieces. Just put them there. So there's my 2 Scotties. And now I have a strip of red like this, just a scrap, and I want to punch out 5 bows, and 5 because I want 1 for each Scottie and 3 for the inside of the card to be what would I call them, the stoppers that are making the card stand up straight. So let's see, how can we do this wasting as little as possible. 1, 5. Right, so out of this mess we'll just pick out the 5 bows. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So now we're going to put this card together. So we've got to make sure we have the pieces going the right way. That and that. Oops. Oh yeah, I can turn that one over, and that and that. So there I've got my 3 pieces for my panels. I've got a stamp for the front, I've got the piece for the inside and the buttons. We'll put that and these 3 pieces to one side, just over off to the side. And we've got Scotties. Oops, there's a little extra piece. And him. Oh, that piece doesn't want to go away. Gone. Okay, so now we're going to use this, and we're, when I say this, the silicone mat and liquid adhesive, because I want, oh, I know what I forgot to do. Let me just backtrack. These 3 pieces here, I'm bringing in my paper cutter again. Now you can either use your paper cutter or you can use your scoring board, whichever you think is easiest. Okay, I'm just going to use my scoring board for now. I'm going to hide these two pieces. I'm going to fold them out of my way. Okay, the first piece the first panel I'm going to put into my cutter, and I'm not going to cut. Make sure you've got your cutting blade out of the way. Oops, where did that, there we go. This is my scoring blade, the light grey blade, and I'm going to line up my cardstock here with the corner and the corner in the groove of the paper cutter, and I'm going to score it. Am I scoring this the right way? I just need to make sure. Yes. So there's the first panel done. Now I just was not heavy enough at this end. There we go. I'm going to bring this flap back and put the middle flap out and do the same thing. There and there. Yep, and then bring this one out and put that one in and do the same thing again. There we are. Alright, now we'll put the paper cutter out of the way. Bring in the bone folder. Close the card and make sure it's nicely burnished so you've got a really nice sharp fold there. We're going to take each one of these panels and we're going to pick them up. We're going to open the card out. Turn it around upside, I don't know which way to do this. Yeah, starting here, we're going to fold this panel. Give it a good sharp burnish. Same with the next panel. Now if your scoring was right on, now I can see it wasn't here. I've got a little space there. I'm not going to worry about it. Your designer series paper will help to hold that, will help to hide that. Okay, so we've got 3 panels that will sit like that. So now we need some liquid adhesive, and I've got my 3 sets of designer series paper that we've cut. My stripes are all going the same way. My dots are well, dots, not much, can't really mess with them. Okay, now I'm taking white adhesive, my Tombow, right to the edge, right to the point of my piece of paper, my DSP, and I'm putting this on here like this, making sure my top edge is straight. So there's my 3 striped panels on. Now I'm going to put my 3 red panels on with the red side showing. So you got to put the adhesive on the striped side. And again, line it up and try and get it nice and straight. So there are my 3 panels. So now I've got to put my Scotties on my panels. I've got to decide where they're going to go. Now, what I did on my first card, I turned one Scottie over so he was facing the other way. And I think I'm going to do that again. So we've got him, we've got a sentiment. Now, there's no right or wrong to this. I'm going to put a Scottie here. You can play around with it, you know, you can try him here and this one here if you want to, and your sentiment at the bottom, or you could have your Scotties with there and there and your sentiment in the middle. I think I'll do that this time. That looks nice. Okay, so to put these Scotties on the front of the card, I just used my Stamp and Seal adhesive, and I did, as you see, line my card up like this. So this Scottie here, for instance, I just want adhesive sort of across his middle. and you've got to watch where you place him because you don't want his head sticking out over the top of the card. That's why the card is lying down flat. And I'm going to put him here, and I'm going to put him so that he's fairly high up on the card. He's almost to the top. Move him out as far as we can. There he goes. So he's there. This one here, we're going to put, there, we're going to put him over here. Okay, so you see how if I put the adhesive through the middle of him, he's going to be stuck to the top panel, and we don't want that. We just want him stuck to the bottom panel. So when I look at him, I'm going to put adhesive down this leg and on the edge of this leg, and maybe a dab on his nose just to hold him. So let me turn that back. So down this leg, whoops, there, dab on his nose, and then let me go back and have another look. Let me take that out of there, and maybe just a tiny little bit of adhesive across the bottom of that foot there. Okay, and he will sit. Let's tidy him up a little bit. I can see a little bit of adhesive there. He's gonna go right there. Now I'm going to stand my panel up and have a look, and I've got no adhesive showing on the back, so that's good. This one I'm fairly certain there wouldn't be because I just did the adhesive through the middle. This piece here, the sentiment, we're going to put right in the center of the card, so we really could go right across the corner. I think this way, yes. I'm going to put this right in the middle, line it up on some dots carefully. There, tip that panel and make sure we're not seeing any adhesive on the back of there. I can feel a little bit of adhesive. Oh, there it is. And it just rubs off if you rub it gently. It'll just rub right off onto your finger. Buttons there, we've got bows. We're going to put the bow on each puppy, just again using a little bit of adhesive. There's one. There's two. We're going to put this piece on the inside of the card. We should have about 1/8 of an inch going all the way around. We do. There, making sure my card's the right way up. And then I'm going to take these 3 bows and I'm going to put them on a dimensional each. So you have to decide now, how high do you want this to stand? Do you want it to stand up with this piece perfectly up straight, or do you want it just leaning on an angle? I think on an angle is kind of nice. So I'm going to put this bow, I'm going to hold this card and I'm going to put this bow so that it sits right there. And that puts my card on holds my easel up on the angle. I'm going to do the same with the second one. Let it sit not too high. There, and then we've got the third one. I'm looking at my card to make sure they're all about the same. So there we have this lovely little card, and you've got 3 easels all standing up. I don't know which way to show you. 3 easels all standing up. Okay, we're just going to finish off with a little really old, what are they even called, red rhinestone basic jewels. I did look at using the festive pearls, I think they were called, to use for the to put a little gem on my bows, but they do tend to change colour. They are actually pink, the polished pink, and they do tend to change colour depending on what you put them with. So if you put them with red, they sometimes look real red, other times they don't. They are definitely pink. So there it is. That's this week's card. It was fairly quick. It was quick, simple, didn't use a lot of supplies, a couple of punches, a stamp set and some beautiful DSP. As always, that's my own design. I mean, obviously the triple easel is not, but the Scottie dogs are. And if you want to copy and share this card, please do so. Just see where you learned how to do it and give credit where credit's due. And as always, if you do sell your cards, please put the Stampin' Up! Angel stamp on, just to say that all the supplies used are Stampin' Up! Supplies. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week. Bye.